Good afternoon from the Namoli Family Stadium on the grounds of the University of Tampa campus. This afternoon, the Tampa Spartans play host to Embry-Riddle. I'm Bruce Wozniak alongside Victor Anderson, here to call the action for you in Game 1 of a scheduled doubleheader between 20-6 Tampa and 15-14 Embry-Riddle. And Victor, we saw a very entertaining softball game here between these two teams last night.
Well, it was a game, Bruce, where came down to Tampa taking advantage of 4 Embry-Riddle errors. The first one being the critical one where Hannah Yetter tripled and scored on a fielding error that gave Tampa the lone run of the game to win 1-0 as Gwen McGinnis set a new school record for most consecutive scoreless innings. And looking to take the series for the Spartans will be the freshman Coda Travers, making her first start in nearly 2 weeks for Leslie Cantor against the Embry-Riddle team, who's trying to find some momentum. And really, if you look at the game, Bruce, yesterday, Embry-Riddle could say, Tampa didn't beat us. We beat ourselves with those 4 errors.
That's right. And the Spartans come into this game on a 4-game winning streak. And as Victor mentioned, Coda Travers, the starting pitcher for the home team, she has a 2.23 earned run average in 2026, a one-loss record of 2-2. She has started 5 games, does have 1 complete game on her record, 22 innings pitched so far this season. And we'll see the leadoff hitter, Leah Oberker, the center fielder for Embry-Riddle, hitting .307 this season. And as you can see, a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon. And here comes the game's first pitch. And the first pitch is in for a strike right at 12 noon Eastern time. And our game time temperature is 82 degrees. 0-1 on the way, showing bunt. And not going to be played in time. And so a great start for Embry-Riddle right out of the gate, getting the leadoff hitter on base.
And that's what Leah Oberker has done all season. When she gets on base, she's one of the most prolific base stealers in the conference, 29 of 30 in stolen bases, already with over 100 steals in her career. So a great opportunity for Emma Wood and Kendall Wilkie, the 2 3-hole hitters for Kelsey Dunn-Diaz, to get the Eagles on the board early off the freshman.
Emma Wood, the first base player, .407 batting average. And the first pitch to her is a ball. They have 3 of their first 4 hitters are seniors. They have answered the call for Kelsey Dunn-Diaz. Here's the 1-0. Swung on and ranging over. I was about to say making a nice catch was Zekman. And then you see it fall out of her glove at the last minute.
That would have been a great play by Zekman. And a chance potentially for 2, but instead it'll be first and second for Embry-Riddle. And Kendall Wilkie, the leading hitter and run producer at the plate. A golden opportunity for the Eagles to strike in the top of the first.
Travers with her first pitch to Emma Wood. Right to short, bobbled over to first, and that's not going to be in time. And Embry-Riddle loading the bases. And Victor, Captain Obvious, this is not what we saw last night at all, although the statistical oddity that I had pointed out is that the Spartans won the game even though they only had 1 hit. Embry-Riddle did have, I think it was 3 over the course of the game, and all of a sudden here they are with their first 3 runners aboard.
The issue with that, Bruce, has been Tampa's inability to execute on the defensive end, and Embry-Riddle being more aggressive, understanding that Travers making her first start since the second game of the doubleheader versus Hillsdale that we both called on St. Patrick's Day, where she took the loss and now 1-0 victory. And here's a great opportunity for Matea Martin. Bases loaded, nobody out. Spartans will have to bring that infield in.
The cleanup hitter Martin, who's hitting .321 on the season. So the Spartans need to be on their toes early here as Embry-Riddle mounting an early threat. The 0-1 on the way. And Travers gets strike 2. big moment for her as a freshman, Victor, to see if she can get herself out of this jam or at least limit the damage. Here's the 0-2, and it's outside for ball one.
To give it the rest of the Embry-Riddle lineup, Vanessa Gilbert, she'll hit cleanup. She's due on deck. Addison Orr will hit 6. Ava Arnold hitting 7. Riley Sullivan in the 8th slot, and Sierra Lipton batting 9th. Same batting order for Kelsey Dunn-Diaz from the opener last night.
Martin follows that one off.
Only change defensively from Tampa for the series opener is who's in the circle. Defense remains the same with Feast, Zekman, and Johnson the outfield, right, center, and left, respectively. Newpaper, Reynolds, Yetter, and Salisbury the infield, third to first, and Kenna Crowther doing the catching for the freshman.
The 1-2 to Matea Martin. And did she go around?
Two and two as no swing was given by field umpire Scott Boswell. Ralph Rodriguez calling the balls and strikes in our opener of our twin bill on this Saturday afternoon.
Here's the 2-2. Martin swings and misses, and that's out number one here in the top of the first. A sigh of relief for Coda Travers, who has the bases loaded behind her.
And that was a big strikeout for Travers. Now you got Gilbert to the plate. Picked up the first hit for Embry-Riddle in the top of the fifth off Gwen McGinnis last night.
Bounces that one to third. Home. And 2 outs in the bottom of the first. So the Spartans collectively breathe a little bit more of a sigh. Just one more out needed if they can get out of this jam. As we now see Addison Orr coming into the batter's box for the visitors.
And a good job by Jenna Newpaper. Charged in on a high bouncer to get that force with Obercare at the plate. This is up and inside for ball one. Travers making, as Bruce referenced, her 6th starter of the season, her first since St. Patrick's Day versus Hillsdale.
Addison Orr, the left fielder, looks at that one. And the count 2-0.
Travers like to get something low here on the 2-0 count, hoping Orr can hit something to the left side.
And just catches the corner for strike one. Big moment here for Coda Travers. Her 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled off. And she is 1 strike away from getting herself out of a bases-loaded jam.
And considering how this inning started, you give up the bunt single to Obercare. Wood gets one off the glove of Zekman. Wilkie reaches on the throwing air from Reynolds. If Travers can get out of this inning unscathed, a big early boost of momentum.
Fouled back. Addison Orr stays alive for at least one more pitch. And now Travers is set. Winds and delivers to third. And that'll be over to first in plenty of time for out number 3. So the Spartans get themselves out of a big jam. No runs and 2 hits. There was 1 Spartan error, 3 Embry-Riddle runners left on base. We will go to the bottom of the first. Nothing for Embry-Riddle. Spartans coming to bat. Back with more on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network after this. Back live at the Moley Family Stadium. Spartans coming to bat, and Victor set us up with the starting pitcher for Embry-Riddle in this game one.
It's going to be Shelby Morris who'll get the ball for Embry-Riddle, making her 13th start on the year. She's 7-6, 2.90 ERA. Picked up the win in their second game of the doubleheader versus Hillsdale last Friday. Did get knocked around for 10 hits, gave up an unearned run in those 7 innings. So Tampa needs to capitalize off of Morris, that she's been prone to get hit. As Zupaver takes that for strike one.
I mentioned that the Spartans come in on a 4-game winning streak. That victory by Tampa last night snapped a 3-game winning streak by Embry-Riddle. As the home team batting here at the bottom of the first, and that one is fouled down the third base line. 0-2 to Jenna Newpaver.
No changes for the Tampa lineup from last night. Newpaver, Feast, and Kryler, top third of the order. Brummel, O'Neill, Salisbury, and Yetter, 4, 5, 6. Zekman, Johnson, Reynolds, the bottom third of the order. And that one just misses on the outside corner.
Jenna Newpaver, the freshman, batting .294 in this 2026 season. Has played all 26 games. And you see the count go even as she watches the ball outside. Good job by the freshman to hang in there. Good eye at the plate, battling back. Next pitch coming from Shelby Morse. Fouled back to the screen.
You see that shift from the Embry-Riddle defense. Obercare shifting more to left center. And again, that's been kind of the shift we've seen pitchers have made against these Tampa left-handed hitters. And Newpaver they haven't been able to take advantage of it much at home.
I was going to say, if you could hit the NS at the end of Spartans on that outfield wall, you're going to be in good shape.
It was in that area last night where Hannah Yetter had her triple, and then the throwing air allowed her to slide home head first for the eventual game-winning run.
2-2. It's in play. And fielded nicely. And they do get Newpaver at first.
That was a bang-bang play, and a good job by Lipton to just barely throw out Newpaver, although the reaction from longtime assistant Denise Rubio probably indicated something different. And now here comes Karen Feast.
Yeah, I was watching Rubio right there on the spot. She was watching it in real time from about as close as you can get. Needless to say, looked at the umpire in disagreement, but not going to get a change as there's strike one to Cam Feast, hitting .377. Feast has played in 22 of the Spartans' 26 games this season. And the 0-1 to her. And Morse gets strike two. This is the way that she started against Newpaver.
See Leslie Cantor giving some instruction to Kenna Kryler on deck, probably indicating, hey, they're pitching you hard and inside. You got to take advantage of it. Just misses outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Defensively, quickly for Embry-Riddle, Martin, Obercare, and Orr, the outfield from left to right. Wood, Lipton, Arnold, and Sullivan, the infield first to third. Vanessa Gilbert to do the catching for Shelby Morse.
Pitch to Feast, swings, goes back to left field, and a routine catch made out there by Addison Orr. Out number 2. The Spartans catcher Kenna Kreidler to the plate. Kreidler hitting .368. And a team high 18 runs batted in. Bases empty, of course. She has had a very good junior season.
And a slump by her standards. First time all season, Kreidler has gone consecutive games without a hit, went hitless last night.
1 ball, 1 strike to Kenna Kreidler. Morse, check of the wristband. Ready. Kreidler, it's going to go in almost the same spot. And Orr will make another catch for out number 3. So for the Spartans in the bottom of the first, no runs, no hits, no Embry-Riddle errors, and no Spartan runners left on base. We're through one complete. We are scoreless. Back with more softball after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back at the Inamoli Family Stadium as we get set for the start of the second inning. The Eagles and Spartans, no score after 1. And if you came for offense, you were disappointed. But what a great game last night nonetheless, as the Spartans took the series opener 1-0. And in this half of the second, we're going to see the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Eagles, starting off with Ava Arnold, the Embry-Riddle shortstop. And Arnold watches the first strike. Next pitch on the way is ball 1, and I had remarked that 3 of the first 4 hitters are seniors. Arnold, and then 2 after her, all freshmen. Seven, 8, 9 are all freshmen, and there's strike 2 to Ava Arnold, referring to Riley Sullivan and Sierra Lipton.
Taking on a freshman and on the Tampa side of things, and Coda Travers.
Swing and a miss. And there's the strikeout. Second of the game for Coda Travers. 1 down in the top of the second.
And Bruce, she's not really known for her strikeouts is the freshman out of Davie, Florida. Came into this game with only 8 total strikeouts in 22 innings. She's already equaled her season high with 2 strikeouts already.
And now facing Riley Sullivan. Third base player for the Eagles. The 0-1, swing and a miss.
You thinking with Coach Cantor was hanging out the dugout before the game, kind of giving Travers an opportunity. Usually we'll see Holly Steffes start the middle game of the 3-game series. And bounce that one over the short to Reynolds for out number 2. And really, if you think about it, Bruce, you're going to give Travers as many opportunities as you can to get herself deep into a game. Hope you get some offense in. And then if she gets into any sort of trouble like we saw her do when she pitched against Hillsdale on St. Patrick's Day, then you could bring in Holly Steffes. And then if you have to, break emergency glass and enter Gwen McGinnis.
Lipton bounces that to Newpaver over to first. And so the Eagles go down 1-2-3 in the top of the second. No runs, no hits, no Spartan errors, and no Eagle runners left on base. Through 1.5, we remain scoreless. We'll be back after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. we just saw the Embry-Riddle Eagles go 3 up, 3 down. The Spartans had gone 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the first. So that brings us to Micaiah Brumble-O'Neill, Carly Salisbury, and Hannah Yetter, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters here in the bottom of the second, facing Shelby Morse. Spartans looking for their first hit of the game as a result. Looking for their first base runner, for that matter. Embry-Riddle with 2 hits. Popped up and caught by Riley Sullivan for out number 1.
Morris comes into this game, Bruce, after that pop with Brummel O'Neill. Leads the Eagles with the second in the team at 2.88 ERA, but it's been the conference play that has been her bugaboo. Morris with a 5.96 ERA in 6 appearances in Sunshine State Conference play. That's gone 0-4 in league competition in 2026.
Strike 1 to Carly Salisbury. Salisbury has not only played but started all 26 of the Spartans games this year.
Missed one a little bit inside, evens up the count 1-1. Ralph Rodriguez has been very consistent on that inside part of the plate so far this afternoon. And so see Coach Leslie Cantor instructing her righties to make those necessary adjustments.
Salisbury puts it in play, fielded cleanly, and over to first in time for out number 2. Ava Arnold with the throw over to Emma Wood. And the Spartans all of a sudden 2 outs in the bottom of the second, starting to resemble the bottom of the first.
And we are in the same situation, Bruce, we were in last night. 2 outs, bases clear for Hannah Yetter. And she hit that triple to right center and scored on the fielding error for the game's lone run. And that 1-0 win, a complete game shutout for Gwen McGinnis. And you see the defense playing more straight away to prevent that from happening once again.
Yeah, Yetter's going to have to go even to our right of the S at the end of Spartans to even come close to replicating what she did last night. Two balls, no strikes. Pitch on the way, swung at and missed.
And then with Shelby Moore, she's a veteran. She knows how to handle these situations. The senior out of California has pitched very strongly, looking to finish out her collegiate career with a strong note. And it's 3-1 now to Yetter.
Aubrey Zeckman on deck, hoping to get herself up to bat this half inning. And now the 3-1 to Yetter is fouled off. Count goes full.
So many young players in this Tampa lineup. You just got to, you're going to have those ebbs and flows offensively. And hoping that Johns can come through with 2 out.
Swung on and right back to Morse. And over to first for out number 3. So the Spartans once again, no runs, no hits, no Embry-Riddle errors, and no U-Tampa runners left on base. We remain scoreless after 2 innings. We'll be back with more softball after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, zeros all over the scoreboard with the exception of 2 Embry-Riddle hits and 1 Spartan error. And we're at the top of the order for the Eagles. Here in the top of the third, Leah Oberker, who reached on an error to start the game.
Dolan outside for ball 1. And really think the first inning is the telltale sign of how this game could have gone. Embry-Riddle had the bases loaded. Leslie Cantor called a defensive conference, and Travers is not allowed an Eagle to has retired the last 6 she's faced, but has fallen behind to Obercare 2-0.
Yeah, a tale of 2 innings. That first inning and second inning did not resemble each other whatsoever, as Embry-Riddle went 3 up, 3 down in the second after loading the bases, throwing a scare into the Spartans in the first. Nicely fielded, and they do get the out. A great play there defensively by Hannah Yetter, and a shot in the arm for the Spartans defensively as Oberker is retired as out number 1 in the top of the third.
And then Yetter had to step back just a bit before she charged to her right and still made a good throw to Salisbury to retire the speedy Obercare. And I'll bring up Emma Wood. Wood singled just off the glove of Zeckman back in the first.
First pitch to her is fouled off over towards the Spartans dugout.
And if you're Embry-Riddle, they're trying to snap down a 13-game losing streak against the Spartans. Their last time they beat the Spartans was a 1-0 win on April Fool's Day in 2022.
Chop to Yetter. And over to Salisbury for out number 2.
And this is the blueprint for Coda Travers. She's not going to strike out a lot of batters. She's going to get a lot of balls. She's going to get a lot of ground ball outs, a lot of motion. And we recall her lone complete game against Southwest Minnesota State. Only needed 65 pitches that afternoon to beat the Mustangs 3-1.
And this inning is going to go very quickly for Embry-Riddle. Travers, as you just described, very efficient with her pitches here in the top of the third. No runs, no hits, no Spartan errors, and no Eagles left on base. We're through 2.5. We're scoreless. Back with more after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. The Tampa Spartans trying to figure out Embry-Riddle pitcher Shelby Morse as we start the bottom of the third. The 7, 8, 9 hitters, as the home team has gone 3 up, 3 down in each of the first 2 innings. So Aubrey Zeckman, Abby Johns, and Kenzie Reynolds will try to solve Shelby Morse in this half inning. Strike 1 to Aubrey Zeckman, the Spartans center fielder. Morse ready, winds, delivers. And the count goes even against Aubrey Zeckman. Zeckman with a quick glance down at Leslie Cantor, head coach over at third base. Showing bunt, and it's going to go back off the screen.
You're just trying to find anything really, Bruce, to get this Tampa offense ignited and Coach Cantor was referencing, that the offense has tried to be a lot more consistent when it needs to be. When we saw the Spartans at their best last week in that 3-game sweep versus Palm Beach Atlanta, particularly in the series finale late Saturday afternoon.
Zekman watches that one outside for ball 2. And Morse gets the strikeout, her first of the game. Seven up, 7 down for the Spartans so far in this game. And Abby Johns will try to get them on track here.
And that's been the game plan for Morrison. Kelsey Dunn-Diaz pitch middle outside to the Tampa left-handers and get that corner. And she's been hitting her targets today. That was fouled away into the Tampa dugout for Johns, now 0-1.
Abby Johns hitting .267 in 2026. She has played in every Spartan game so far this season.
Morse is really starting to find her rhythm in her last 6 appearances. She's allowed a total of 7 runs and gets that in for strike 2. Now, 5 of those 7 runs came in that loss to Rollins, 5-2. She gave up 4 of those runs in the 6th inning. Outside of that, she's been very efficient and effective.
Sent to left field, and that's a base hit. And so Abby Johns is the Spartans' first base runner of the game here in the bottom of the 3rd.
That's exactly what you were hoping for. Johns got something inside, got jammed, and just got enough through. And I'll set things up for Kenzie Reynolds.
Kenzie Reynolds, we're at the bottom of the order. The Spartans' shortstop. Reynolds hitting .267 as well. Has also played in all 26 games. And you see the first pitch to Kenzie Reynolds for ball 1.
And I think a lot of people were surprised that Reynolds, on that first pitch, didn't show a bunt.
Sends that one just fouled on the left field line.
I think it's one of those instances, Bruce, where you see how the infield is playing you and understanding the situation. You got 1 out. You got the top of the order coming up with New Paper, potentially can't feast. And you trust Reynolds in this situation.
The Eagles are not playing for bunt defensively. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kenzie Reynolds.
And we mentioned that the way the defense was playing, Reynolds thought the way the corner infielders were playing back, thought it was a good time to try and drop a bunt down, but bunted it behind Gilbert.
And strikeout number 2 for Shelby Morse. As down goes Kenzie Reynolds. And we'll go back to the top of the order, and Jenna Newpaver. Abby Johns, her teammate, over at first base.
And you can tell Morse when the moment that ball hit the glove of Gilbert, she got that corner, and Val Rodriguez rewards her with her second strikeout of the inning.
Strike 1 to Abby Johns. Jenna Newpaver, rather. She grounded out to second in the first inning. One ball, 1 strike to Jenna Newpaver.
You got Lipton charging to second for a potential steal from Johns, which is likely with 2 outs. Or at least get her motion.
And there's a nice gap. If Newpaver can hit this one to our left of the second base bag.
It'll be difficult the way Morris has executed the game plan. Again, pitching middle outside, pitching middle away.
Right to short and over to first for out number 3. The Spartans finally get their first hit of the game. No runs on that 1 hit. No Eagle errors and 1 runner left on base. We remain scoreless after 3. Back with more after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. 83 degrees. It is just a tremendous, tremendous Convention and Visitors Bureau Day here in Tampa. There were 3 cruise ships in port 2 miles away from here on my drive in, and 2 teams having a great game of softball inside Namoli Family Stadium. As we're in the top of the 4th, and only 29 pitches thrown by Coda Travers to this point, as you see that one go foul down the left field line.
No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for Tampa. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for Embry-Riddle. Eagles had the bases loaded in the top of the 1st and nobody out. Couldn't push home a run. And you have not had a base runner since then. Coda Travers, who's thrown 14 pitches in the last 2+ innings.
And Martin bounces that one to Yetter, over to Salisbury. Taya Martin is retired. That'll bring up Vanessa Gilbert.
Gilbert was the last Embry-Riddle base runner. Bruce reached on a fielder's choice with the aforementioned bases loaded in that 1st inning. Takes down 1 low for ball 1. And remember, Bruce, we were here last night. Gilbert got the first Embry-Riddle base hit with 2 outs in the 5th to break up the Gwen McGinnis perfect game bid.
And for those of you that have not been following the Spartans closely this season, you can't hear Victor say that and go, well, come on, perfect game. Because guess what?
She threw one last Saturday at Palm Beach Atlantic.
In the dirt. So Vanessa Gilbert ahead in the count here, 2-1. The Embry-Riddle catcher. Next pitch to her. She leans back just a smidge as the count goes to 3-1. I would say the American flag is not even moving at all. There is, for all intents and purposes, no wind whatsoever. Next pitch from Coda Travers. Swung on. And nice job there by Yetter.
Stayed on the bag somehow.
Salisbury does get the out. Call made right on the spot by Scott Boswell, the umpire. And so 2 away in the top of the 4th.
Really a telltale sign that there was no real contentiousness on that call was Alan Clark, the first assistant coach, not making any sort of grievance towards Mr. Boswell, and then the good play over by Yetter as Addison Orr fouls that one off.
Addison Orr, the left fielder, is the number 6 hitter in Kelsey Dunn-Diaz's batting order, at least for this game. This is the first of a scheduled doubleheader. That one goes foul and out of play on top of the Embry-Riddle dugout.
A great response by Coda Travers. Of course, the bases loaded. Young freshman in a situation like that, you could kind of crack under the pressure. She's locked in, is not allowed base runner since.
Outside for a ball. Count goes to 1-2. Travers winds, delivers. And wow, it's going to be Yetter over to Salisbury yet again for out number 3. Embry-Riddle, no runs, no hits, no Spartan errors. We have goose eggs all over the scoreboard after 3.5 innings. We'll be back with more after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live in Victor, I don't know that anyone expected something like the 9-7 score that we saw the Tampa Bay Rays open their season with 2 nights ago. But at the same time, I think if you had said that through the first 10 innings between these two teams last night and today combined, there would only be 1 run, be a bit of a head scratcher. See Feast, she'll be retired on the first pitch at the bottom of the 4th. Runs are absolutely difficult to come by so far in this series.
Well, you have to give credit to these are 2 top pitching staffs in the conference, even though Embry-Riddle's ERA is not really reflective of that, coming in with a 3.18 ERA. But the pitching performances they've gotten, Olivia Doherty last night having to deal with Gwen McGinnis, notwithstanding, and Shelby Morris today, it's a matter of, like we saw last night, which team makes the first mistake, that'll be the team that could lose this game.
And this is Kenna Kreidler, the Spartans catcher. She flew out to left field in the first. And you had started off our broadcast by saying you could almost make a case that it wasn't so much the Spartans that beat the Eagles last night, it was the Eagles that beat themselves. And what you just said rings true, because the rate that this game is going, it's going to be something of a miscue nature, perhaps, that comes back to factor in the final outcome. Swing and a miss by Kreidler. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We saw a long meeting in the on the outfield and right last night with Kelsey Dunn-Diaz and her Eagles expressing that same thing. And that one bounces in front of Gilbert by Morris to bring the count even 2-2. And you can really see the frustration from Tampa coach Leslie Cantor, hoping that Kreidler can get herself back and rolling. Again, hitless in her last 9 at-bats, dated back to the Saturday doubleheader versus PBA.
2-2 popped up, called for, and that's caught by Ava Arnold for out number 2. Frustration continues for Kreidler, and in the meantime, we will see the Spartans cleanup hitter, Micaiah Brumble-O'Neill. She popped out to third base in the 2nd inning. And what a performance we're seeing here from Shelby Morse. Followed back to the screen by Brumble-O'Neill. And you're right, the stats can be misleading because Shelby Morse looks like anything but someone that has a 2.90 earned run average and 7-6 1-loss record. She's really just putting on a fantastic performance from the circle so far.
Well, if you're a Embry-Riddle fan, you're not surprised at what she's done, especially over her last 2 seasons.
There's a base hit. So Brumble-O'Neill comes through with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. And Tampa has a runner aboard.
And that's the kind of hit that you want. That's probably the best hit, the hardest hit ball we've seen from either team today. And now a chance for Carly Salisbury, who grounded out to short back in the 2nd.
Well, we're in the bottom of the 4th, and that's only the 2nd hit of the game for Tampa.
Salisbury was the hero in that first game of the doubleheader last week versus Palm Beach Atlantic. Had a 2-run single in the top of the 8th as fouls that one off her foot in the batter's box. And that was the reason Tampa got the 2-0 lead and subsequent win after a great pitching effort by Holly Steffens, and Gwen McGinnis closed things down in the 8th.
One ball, 1 strike to Carly Salisbury. The next pitch from Shelby Morse, fouled back to the screen.
And we're starting, Bruce, to see Morse get that ball up in the zone a little bit more and getting more swings and contact from the Tampa hitters. And that's going to allow her with 2 strikes to set up that outside part of the plate, expand the zone just a touch.
And there's a base hit. Salisbury shot to right field. And Tampa with runners on first and second now, 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. That'll bring up the number 6 hitter, Hannah Yetter. We saw her active defensively in the top half of this inning.
And we're to see Leslie Cantor come on out to Ralph Rodriguez, who looks like we're to see a pinch runner for Brummel O'Neill at second base. It's going to be, looks like it's going to be Lennox Ulrich to pinch run. It's a big opportunity for Hannah Yetter to, doesn't need to duplicate what she did last night at the second inning, Bruce. Just find something in the outfield to get Ulrich home.
Looked at that one for strike one. Yetter grounded out to Morse in the second inning and awaits the 0-1 here in the bottom of the fourth. Fouls it off. And now Yetter going to have to work from behind, try to avoid ending this little bit of a Spartans threat. Takes a step out of the batter's box.
Yeah, Morse will ask for some extra time to kind of reset herself with his 0-2 count.
And let's see what Shelby Morse brings. Here's the 0-2, way outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Hannah Yetter. Yetter swings and fouls that one back, stays alive.
And you see Yetter starting to adjust to Morris with those 2 strikes. Anything that's close, Bruce, towards that outside part of the zone, she's going to throw that bat out. Worst case, at least trying to get contact and get another pitch.
Swings at that one. And under it and making the catch is Addison Orr. So the Spartans, no runs on 2 hits, no Eagle errors, 2 runners left on base. We are through 4 complete, still scoreless. Back with more softball after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live at the Nemoli Family Stadium. I'm Bruce Wozniak alongside Victor Anderson. Tampa Spartans playing host to a Sunshine State Conference rival, trying to extend their winning streak to 5.
It will be a pinch hitter to lead things off for Averano. It will be Gianna Dominesi to pinch hit to start off things for Embry-Riddle in the 5th.
Domenesi, a senior from way out in California. And Domenesi looks at strike 1.
Gianna Domenesi, 1 of 15 on the season, but has knocked in 2 with that 1 hit.
Strike 2. The 0-2 to the pinch hitter. And in the dirt, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Coda Travers has retired the last 12 batters she's faced after giving up 2 singles and an error in the top of the first.
And Domenici makes her coach look good with a base hit here in the top of the 5th. A 1-2 single that gives the Eagles another base runner.
And Arnold will re-enter the game. And give things opportunity for the freshman Riley Sullivan.
Kenna Kreidler had just a brief word with her pitcher, Coda Travers. And we're set now with Riley Sullivan, the number 8 hitter. She ground out to short in the 2nd inning, lays down a bunt, and home plate umpire Ralph Rodriguez says, no, foul ball.
That ball started right in front of home plate and then quickly curled back in front of Kenna Kreidler. And saw a brief peek out of the Tampa dugout by Leslie Cantor, coaching her, particularly her middle infield of Reynolds and Yetter.
There's another bunt drop down that goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes against the freshman Riley Sullivan. From down south in Venice, Florida, Coda Travers' next pitch on the way is outside for ball 1.
No activity right now in the Tampa bullpen, but you know Leslie Cantor hopes that Travers can work through this situation with the bottom third of the Embry-Riddle order.
And there is strikeout number 3 for Coda Travers as Riley Sullivan goes down here in the top of the 5th. That brings us to the bottom of the order, and Sierra Lipton ball 1 to Lipton.
And right now, if you're Kelsey Dunn-Diaz, you hope that Lipton at the very least can put Arnold in scoring position to bring up Leah Oberkehr, who's on deck. Swings through and misses there.
1 ball, 1 strike to Sierra Lipton. Grounded out to third back in the 2nd inning. Does have a teammate over at first in the person of Ava Arnold. Bounces that one foul.
And if you're Travers, you got Lipton down 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know you don't have to worry about at least potentially Ava Arnold running. Arnold does not have a stolen base attempt all season, so you can try and execute and retire Lipton.
The 1-2 to Lipton. Count goes even. So I believe, Victor, that this 3 strikeout performance so far for Travers is a season high for her.
It is a career high for her. She tied it after 7 batters in with the strikeout of Arnold in the 2nd.
And it's bounced right to her and over to first as the Eagles get a runner into scoring position.
2 down, and that will bring Leah Oberkehr to the plate. And Travers had enough time to turn over to throw the other to get that force out. And I'm sure that's something that she will have conversation with Coach Cantor and pitching coach Jackie Davis about as she progresses forward. So now, see if that comes back to bite the Spartans with Oberkehr to the plate.
Strike 1 to the center fielder, Leah Oberkehr.
And you bring that up, Bruce, because if you get that out at first, you get that out at second, Oberkehr has to get at least an extra base hit to get that runner home.
Strike 2. Coda Travers hoping to dodge a wee bit of a scare here in the top of the 5th. And will not with that pitch, as Oberkær stays alive at 1-2.
Oberkær, you have to be careful for anything low and inside. She's pitched you away in the majority of this at bat.
And there's the base hit. They will bring the runner home. The throw to Kreidler, she misses it. And so the Eagles take the 1-0 lead, and Oberkær ends up all the way at third. So indeed, Travers does suffer from her own play defensively of throwing to first instead of second.
And that's when you're learning as a pitcher in this situation, understanding the situation, understanding the score, and that's where Oberkær is able to take advantage and now advances to third on the throw, and the Eagles strike first.
And that one's going to go foul down the left field line. Let's not forget that earlier in the broadcast we talked about the fact that it might be some sort of miscue that leads to potentially the game-winning run. Still a lot of ball left to be played here, but certainly a significant moment as Embry-Riddle now has themselves a runner at third. Emma Wood, the Eagles' first base player. Next pitch to her, and that's sent to center field and caught by Aubrey Zeckman for out number 3. Embry-Riddle gets 1 run on 2 hits, no Spartan errors, and 1 runner left on base through 4 1/2. The visitors in a 1-0 lead. We'll be back with more softball after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live in Tampa, where the Embry-Riddle Eagles have taken a 1-0 lead over the Tampa Spartans. We are entering the bottom of inning number 5. And we're going to see a pinch hitter.
There'll be Olivia Feldman to hit on the 7th spot for Aubrey Zeckman. So it'll be Feldman, Johns, Reynolds due up to take on Shelby Morris, who's allowed 3 hits. All of them come in the last 2 innings, but now has a 1-run lead to protect thanks to the Oberkær RBI single.
And Feldman retired on the first pitch. These are the 7, 8, and 9 hitters here in the bottom of inning number 5. Abby Johns, the number 8 hitter, into the batter's box now. Abby Johns, the Spartans' left fielder. She singled in the 3rd inning.
And just a quick point of order, that last run scored by Embry-Riddle is the first run Tampa has allowed since that 1-0 loss versus Hillsdale on St. Patrick's Day. Ironically enough, Coda Travers was the pitcher that started that game against the Chargers, and that run came on a 2-out base hit.
1-1 coming to Abby Johns. Fouls it off.
Was last year's second-team All-Sunshine State Conference. Had one of the best years for a pitcher in Eagle history.
And Johns will be retired over at first base as out number 2 here in this bottom of the 5th. Shelby Morse giving the Spartans fits here this afternoon in game 1 of this doubleheader as we go to the bottom of the Spartans order. And Kenzie Reynolds to the plate now, the Spartans shortstop. And Reynolds watches that one up high for ball 1.
Morris has done her job, did her job through the first 4 innings, and her team finally comes through in the top half of the inning. And she is going to send them to the
In time for out number 3. The Spartans go up, 3 down very quickly in the bottom of inning number 5. No runs, no hits, no Eagle errors, and no Spartan runners left on base. We're through 5 complete. Embry-Riddle leads it 1-0. Back with more softball after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live, and Victor, a defensive substitution for you, Tampa.
Yeah, we saw Olivia Feldman pinch hit for Aubrey Zeckman in the bottom of the 5th, so it'll be Joey Treywick take over in center field. In the top of the 6th, it'll be Treywick in center, Feaston right, Johnson left for Tampa.
Embry-Riddle, we're seeing the 3, 4, and 5 hitters here in the top of inning number 6, and they are giving the Spartans fits as Tampa tries to extend their winning streak to 5. And ranging over and making the catch, Cam Feast for out number 1.
One run, 4 hits, no errors for the Eagles. 0-3-1 for the Spartans with Matea Martin to the plate, 0 for 2. This goes in for ball 1.
Coda Travers has 3 strikeouts in this game. Matea Martin, the victim of one of those. She also ground out to second base in the 4th inning. And the count goes even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sends that one foul and out of play down the left field line.
Embry-Riddle trying to snap a 13-game losing streak versus the Spartans. The last time they beat Tampa was April 1st, 2022. That game also was a 1-0 win in favor of the Eagles.
And I'm seeing a pattern here, Victor, because it was 1-0 last night. Also, it's 1-0 here so far in the top of the 6th. And right at Salisbury for the unassisted putout for out number 2 here in the top of the 6th. That'll take us to the number 5 hitter, Vanessa Gilbert. She is 0 for 2 in this game. First pitch to her is going to be a base hit. And that is the 5th hit of the game for the Eagles.
Great piece of hitting there by Gilbert. Found grass in left center field to drop one in. An opportunity for Addison Orr with 2 out.
Addison Orr also 0 for 2. Sends that one to, a nice running catch made by Hannah Yetter. And the Spartans get out of the inning still trailing only by 1. We'll be back with the bottom of the 6th after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. And if the Tampa Spartans are going to extend their winning streak to 5, they're going to have to figure out Shelby Morse, who has held them scoreless through 5 innings. And don't forget, we got lots more softball for you today. This is game 1 of a scheduled doubleheader. And here in the bottom of inning number 6, the Spartans are at the top of the order. Leadoff hitter Jenna Newpaver into the batter's box, the Spartans' third base player. 0 for 2 in this game. And the first pitch to her, and the bottom of inning number 6 is ball 1.
You look at that, we break down these innings, Bruce. Embry-Riddle's been able to get their leadoff hitters on 2 of the 6 innings. Tampa will have their first inning with a leadoff runner on that miscue. And the ball slipping out of the hands of the third baseman, Sullivan. So an opportunity for the Spartans. That's the reverse broadcaster jinx comes into play as the Spartans for the first time in the game will have the leadoff runner aboard.
And you'll take it any way you can get it. And if you can't solve Shelby Morse, if it boils down to an error, the Spartans will take it. The errors were certainly the Eagles' undoing last night. And now Feast showing bunt.
That ball hit Feast on the leg and then went back in the field of play. Ralph Rodriguez right on top of that one. And Leslie Cantor will ask for some time to have a little conversation with the one-time Florida Gulf Coast Eagle. And, of course, in a situation like this, which you anticipate Feast trying to lay down the bunt, move Newpaver over to set up Kreidler and Brumble O'Neill. But with it being a one-run game and the way Morris has been able to limit the opportunities for Tampa, do you put Newpaver in motion? She is 4 for 4 in stolen bases and give Feast an opportunity for a hit and run. I
think you need to. It's late in the game, and it's been very difficult for the Spartans to mount any kind of a, dare I say, threat.
Appealed to first to see if she went around after almost getting hit by that pitch, and Scott Boswell says she did not go after it, so it's an even count 1-1.
The Spartans are 1 for 4 with a runner on so far in this game. And there's a good bunt by Feast, so she does move Newpaver up.
That's exactly what you want if you're Leslie Cantor. You got to pick. Cam knew she was going to get pitched inside again from Morris. Drop down the bunt towards the first base side to force Wood to come in to get the 3-4 sacrifice. And now here's the opportunity. New Paver at second, 1 out. You got Kryler at the plate. So plenty of options available here for both sides.
And if Kreidler's going to finally break out, now's the time to do it.
It almost broke one through Coach Cantor in the process as she fouls that one sharply past third.
One out. We are in the bottom of the 6th. Offense has been hard to come by in this series. Let's see if Kreidler can provide some here for the home team. And she leans back and takes strike 2.
You see how where Arnold is shifting, Bruce. She's playing more towards Sullivan at third.
Kreidler sends that one deep to center field. That one's going to go all the way back to the fence. And the Spartans, an RBI double from Kenna Kreidler. She finally breaks through and does so in grand fashion. And the ball game is all tied up at 1.
And that's exactly what you wanted if your head coach Leslie Cantor, your leading run producer, does her job, hits it to the deepest part of the park. Brummel O'Neill re-enters the game. And Kreidler will stay on to run at second base.
So far.
Now, this is an interesting strategy. You see Sullivan and Wood playing back. Brummel O'Neill could try and drop down a bunt and get herself on. Oh, misses in for ball 1. Morris trying to relax herself just a bit. Brummel O'Neill does have the speed and a bit of back work, Bruce. If she can drop one down right towards third with Sullivan, who's had some troubles playing those grounders today, could have Spartans on the corners.
She needs to lift one just over the head of her teammate, Kenna Kreidler.
2-0 count, and we'll see our first trip to the circle all weekend for Embry-Riddle head coach Kelsey Dunn-Diaz, who knows a thing or two about being in these situations. A multi-time All-American at the University of Alabama for the legendary Patrick Murphy. And this is, Bruce, one of those situations I kind of reference. You got a 2-0 count. You got the lead run at second base. You have 1 out. Plenty of options available to see Leslie Cantor joining in the huddle with Denise Rubio, Brummel O'Neill, Kreidler, and Carly Salisbury, who's on deck. It's a fascinating move here. If you're Embry-Riddle, you got Brummel O'Neill down ahead 2-0. Do you try to walk her unintentionally to set up the force at any base, especially with Salisbury? And you got the slower runner with Kreidler at second. But Coach Cantor, knowing that, she could use a pinch runner, but in that part, the main options available as a pinch runner left would be Bella Campbell because you already got Joey Treywick in the game at center field. You've already used Olivia Feldman. They already burned Ulrich, who ran for Brummel O'Neill after her single in the 4th.
So this is Brummel O'Neill ahead in the count, 2-0. And wow. Kyle Brummel O'Neill, 3 balls, no strikes.
If you're the freshman, keep that bat on your shoulder until Morris gives you something you can absolutely drive with confidence.
Gets underneath it, and that'll be caught.
And just as if on cue, Bruce, I said, 3-0 count, you have it in your favor. Unless it's something you can handle, keep that bat on your shoulder.
Yeah, that's one that she's going to regret. At least the fact that she got under the ball. Obviously, there was something about it that she saw that she liked, that she wanted to swing, but certainly didn't want the contact to be what it was. And so now Carly Salisbury, who is 1 for 2. Got her teammate Kenna Kreidler at second. Follows that one. Unfortunate at bat for Brummel O'Neill, but If nothing else, the Spartans sigh of relief having tied this game up here in this bottom of the sixth. Would love to get the go-ahead run, though. The runner in scoring position. And now the 1-1 coming to Carly Salisbury.
Good looking pitch there again by Morris. Hasn't been getting those inside corners with regularity in the last 2 innings. Actually have it in the first 4.
Count goes to 2-1.
And the other thing to consider, Bruce, if Salisbury knocks in the go-ahead run, do we see Gwen McGinnis in the 7th?
Popped up, and she will not knock in the go-ahead run. As the Spartans are retired in the bottom of the 6th, they get 1 run on 1 hit. There was 1 Eagle error, 1 Spartan runner left on base. We are tied at 1 after 6. Back with the top of the 7th after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. A dramatic setting here as we enter the top of inning number 7. Tie game 1-1. The visitors watch their lead evaporate in the bottom of the 6th. And now Coda Travers back to work, having thrown 66 pitches so far in this game. She will face Ava Arnold, the number 7 hitter. That's the Eagles shortstop. She struck out looking back in the 2nd inning. Swing and a miss by Arnold. Foul tip.
And remember, and Bruce, remember, it was Arnold's spot in the lineup in the 5th with Gianna Dominensi, who got a pinch hit single, and Arnold came in to re-enter and scored an Aliba Obacare single to get the Eagles a 1-0 lead at the time.
Strike 2 to Arnold. Ava Arnold, a freshman from San Antonio, Texas. And the 0-2 coming to her. In the dirt for ball 1.
Tampa will have due up in their 7th inning Yetter, Treywick, and Abby Johns. As Travers looks for her 2nd career complete game.
Up high for ball 2. Travers winds, delivers, and bounced to short, and nice throw over to first. Kenzie Reynolds to Carly Salisbury for out number 1.
And we're going to see another pinch hitter for Embry-Riddle. It's like it's going to be the pitcher Shelby Morris, who will be, remember, Morris is in the flex position, so she will hit for Riley Sullivan here.
Morse hitting .296 this season. 10 RBI. Does have 2 home runs. So Kelsey Dundia, as the coach, decides to give her pitcher work as a batter. Strike 1. I always have to chuckle when they talk about, in this case, Morse against Travers. It's kind of like when they would talk about Tom Brady against Aaron Rodgers. They're not really on the field at the same time playing against each other. Well, now they are. As Travers gets ahead in the count 0-2 against Shelby Morse. Outside for ball one.
Morris is 2 for her last 10. Those 2 came against Rollins in their doubleheader split on March the 14th.
Here's the 1-2. And off of the glove of Travers, they're not going to have the time to get it to first. And so Shelby Morse makes her coach look good as the Eagles have a base runner with 1 out in the top of inning number 7. And Kelsey Dunn-Diaz, she's not finished. She's over talking to home plate umpire Ralph Rodriguez again, as we're going to get a pinch runner now.
There'll be Sullivan re-entering the run for Morse.
That'll bring us to the bottom of the Eagles' batting order. Sierra Lipton, she's 0 for 2 in this game. And a fire over to first. Nice attempt by Kenzie Reynolds after making the catch for out number 2. Embry-Riddle is 2 for 10 in this game with a runner on.
And now it looks like Leslie Cantor is going to have a little conversation with her freshman, Coda Travers, in her infield.
And that's because we're going back to the top of the Embry-Riddle order, and Leah Oberker, who has been a factor offensively in this game.
Leslie Cantor is going to take the ball from Coda Travers. And, well, Bruce, we kind of figured if Tampa took the lead, we would see Gwen McGinnis, but Leslie Cantor is not taking any chances. She's going to give the ball to the hands of her All-American to keep this a 1-1 tie and give Tampa a chance to walk things off in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, I imagine that she told McGinnis quite simply, hold it down for us. All she's asking her for is 1 out, of course. Her offense then needs to come through in the bottom half of this inning, but this is a case of tried and true. And I think that Coda Travers, as a freshman, completely understands her coach's decision. And how could you not? With the season, with the career that Gwen McGinnis has been having.
And you got to give Coda Travers plenty of credit, Bruce. She did everything she could to keep her team in it. Travers, 6 2/3 innings, 1 run on 6 hits. No walks, 3 strikeouts, 75 pitches, 55 strikes. Sullivan, her responsibility at first base. But Leslie Cantor giving Gwen McGinnis the chance to keep this tied up at 1. That was high and away for ball 1.
Let's not forget that there's also something to be said for Overcare has been used to seeing Travers the whole game. And sure, they faced each other last night, but that was last night. You're in a rhythm of seeing a different pitcher so far in this game, and you see the swing and a miss there.
And, of course, remember, Overcare has 2 of the 6 Embry-Riddle hits, including an RBI single that gave them the lead in the 5th.
Yeah, very much a chess match. McGinnis winds, delivers, and that's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And again, Tampa will have Yetter, Trewick, and Johns do up in their half of the 7th.
Showing bunt.
Foul ball.
Home plate umpire Ralph Rodriguez all over that one as Overcare retreats to the batter's box. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Keep in mind that the Eagles do have a runner at first base. McGinnis trying to finish this top of the 7th. And does. The strikeout. Overcare goes down. And so the Spartans will have a chance to walk it off in the bottom of the 7th. 1-1 after 6.5. Back with that bottom of the 7th after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. And the tension continues to build here inside Namoli Family Stadium. I'm Bruce Wozniak along with Victor Anderson as we are in the bottom of the 7th in game 1 of a scheduled doubleheader, the Tampa Spartans and the Embry-Riddle Eagles. Shelby Morse, her first pitch to Hannah Yetter is fouled off. These are the 6, 7, and 8 hitters here in the bottom of the 7th for you, Tampa. And a base hit. Hannah Yetter is aboard here in the bottom of the 7th. Opportunity for Joey Trawick and the University of Tampa Spartans. Spartans are 2 for 7 with a runner on in this game. And now Morse sends in her first pitch, and Trawick was about to show bunt.
And the biggest thing right now, you have behind her, you got Johns and Kinsey Reynolds. Johns on deck and Reynolds in the hole.
Does show bunt, and it's going to go a double play. Couldn't go any better for the Eagles, couldn't go any worse for the Spartans. And just like that, Spartans are down to their last out before we are going to have to go extra innings. Falls to Abby Johns, who is 1 for 2 in this game. Johns fouls that one out of play.
Well, we did have some people in the press box last night ask for extra innings, and we're 1 out away from having their wish granted a day later.
The 0-1 to Abby Johns. Make that 0-2. Abby Johns singled in the 3rd, grounded out to short in the 5th. Spartans left fielder. And now the 0-2 coming from Shelby Morse. And that's going to go out of play down the left field line.
It was a promising start to the 7th. You get the leadoff single from Yetter, and then Trawick pops up a bunt right to Wood and gets the double play, and Morris is 1 strike away from sending things to extras.
And there it is. 3rd strikeout for Shelby Morse. And so the Spartans are done in the bottom of the 7th. The line score looks eerily similar. 1 run, 6 hits, 1 error for the visitors, 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for the home team. And we will have the top of inning number 8 after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. To start the top of the 8th, it's Emma Wood. Wood is 1 for 3 in this game and sends the first pitch foul high above the Spartans dugout.
And I'm also going to be stuck on the netting before it just wrestled down by Jenna Newpaver.
So the 0-1 now to the Eagles' first base player. Swings and misses. And in case you missed it, we are seeing Gwen McGinnis. She took over in the last inning from Coda Travers. McGinnis had great success last night against Embry-Riddle.
If you hear me go silent, ladies and gentlemen, during this portion of the 8th innings, because we're throwing somebody out of the press box who wants to see softball play for the next 4.5 hours. So I beg your indulgence in advance, ladies and gentlemen.
So an 0-2 count to Emma Wood, the number 2 hitter in Kelsey Dunn Diaz's batting order. Swings and misses, and McGinnis gets the strikeout.
And by the way, with that strikeout, Gwen McGinnis now has 60 consecutive scoreless innings, expanding her record for the most in program history, and is now the 10th D2 pitcher with at least 60 or more scoreless innings. Tells you what the kind of work, Bruce, she's done during this magical senior season of hers.
This is the designated player, Kendall Wilkie. And will she be retired at first? No. Umpire Scott Boswell right there on the spot to make the call. And a runner aboard for the Eagles in the top of the 8th. I'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Matea Martin, the right fielder. She's 0 for 3 in this game. And, of course, if you're an Eagles fan, you say, good, that means that she's due. She fouls that one back. Keep in mind, however, that her first 3 at-bats, of course, were against Coda Travers. This time going head-to-head with Gwen McGinnis. Count goes even at 1-1.
Now, Martin did have success against McGinnis. The last time she saw her, she got a 1-out single in the 7th, but was not able to get any further than that as Tampa held on to that 1-0 win to start off our series.
That game was here last night as the Spartans won their 4th in a row.
And Leslie Cantor is going to have a conversation with our whole plate umpire, Mr. Ralph Rodriguez. And I don't know if she's asking about she's probably going to make a switch of the outfield with, she's talking about the Embry-Riddle lineup potentially. Because now we do have Martin at the plate, or she may be contemplating putting Feast in center and Treywick in right, which she usually does with substitution purposes. And now Ralph Rodriguez will come on over and talk with Scott Boswell. I don't know what I'm mentioning something about the Embry-Riddle batting order possibly. Remember, Overcare was the one who struck out when McGinnis came in, and then Emma Wood struck out to start the 8th. And then Wilkie had the single right in between McGinnis and Newpaver. So we don't know what specifically they're talking about.
The thinking would be, did Cantor feel that they batted out of order? But you just recapped it for us very accurately, Victor. And let's see.
Yeah, don't see anything going on. And now he'll come on over to Kelsey Dunn Diaz to give the explanation. And now it looks like we're going to see Scott Boswell. I don't know if he's going to go talk to the head of the softball umpiring crew and the conference headquarters in Melbourne about something. And Coach Kelsey Dunn Diaz with a wry smile as she trots towards the Embry-Riddle dugout. We'll have a little chit-chat with Alan Clark, her assistant, as well. And you see Rodriguez talking with Leslie Cantor as well.
Yeah, he's all the way over at the Spartans dugout.
Now, are they saying maybe Wilkie was out of the box when she got that hit? Is that what she's saying? Because I didn't see any emotion if that was the case. So this game, which was flowing along, but it's come to a dead standstill.
Well, I can see Boswell. He's parallel to.
Yeah, he's bringing out.
Embry-Riddle.
He's bringing out the rule book, ladies and gentlemen.
And now he's showing it to Rodriguez.
Hey, I don't know why you're complaining. You say you want to be out here for a long time. You should be happy for this. Hey, this is what. Hey, did he not ask for long softball? Did he not ask? I did not ask for more softball. No, wait. You said we were going to be here for all day. Okay, show of hands of who heard him say he did not. Thank you. Show of hands of who heard him say he did want more softball. I never said did. Thank you very much. Out. No. Get him out. Words are being put in my mouth. That you said out of said mouth. The conversation continues with Mr. Boswell and Mr. Rodriguez. I believe we're still trying to get clarification on what's going on here. The only two things that they could be possibly talking about, Bruce, is one, Wilkie being out of the box. The question is, if that was the case, why was there no signal by the home plate umpire in that particular instance?
And why does that require looking in the rule book?
That two. And also, it can't be batting out of order because, as I just highlighted, McGinnis came in after Lipton popped out, struck out Oberkehr to end the seventh. Wood came on. Wood batted to lead off the eighth. She struck out, and Kendall Wilkie got the infield single. The only other thing I could potentially think of was they didn't officially re-enter Sullivan after her single in the seventh. But again, they did that after Morse got the single. So
the other factor here is, does this long delay help or hurt either team? It's obviously both of them that are having to endure it. But what is this going to do psychologically, if anything, to the Spartans or to the Eagles? Certainly, if this goes against the Eagles, it's going to be, I don't want to go so far as to use a word like devastating, but if all of a sudden this shifts to a two-out situation, you're going to kind of take the wind out of their sails.
But it goes back, but again, Bruce, if the runner was deemed, if the batter was deemed out of the box, what should have happened is that it immediately should have been called. Rodriguez should have went over to Leslie Cantor because she's going to want to take that strike, and then we reset the count to what it was. Because if it's that particular point, Wilkie got that single, it was an 0-1 count. So if she was ruled out of the box, she comes back in, is no balls and two strikes, and Matea Martin has to go back on deck.
And I'm going to tell you what, Rodriguez and Boswell are still very much in that rule book. Now here they come. But Rodriguez is carrying the rule book with him. They have really spent a lot of time deep in the pages and showing the rule book now to Kelsey Dunn-Diaz.
Now this is one of those instances, ladies and gentlemen, where I know there was the game on the D1 side between Arkansas and Florida last year that was delayed over 30 minutes about a play nearly similar to this, and Madison Shipman, who's one of the best in the business, had the rule book in front of her, and now talk to Leslie Cantor, and we're bringing both coaches together to have a conversation. But again, the question is, what was the ruling, and what impact will it have on this inning, and particularly for Embry-Riddle? I think everyone is kind of just as confused as what's going on. Because, again, if it's for Wilkie being out of the box, Cantor can elect to replay the at-bat and to put the count to 0-2.
And let's not forget that Cantor and Dunn-Diaz can stand there and argue it as long as they want, but ultimately the officials are in charge. They're the ones that are going to have to make the ruling, and then the coaches play the hand that they're dealt. So I think in the interest of time, Rodriguez needs to issue a ruling so that the game can resume. They do still have not only a game to settle here, we're only in the top of the eighth, tied 1-1, but there's a Another game in this doubleheader that still has to be played.
And here's the other thing. You waited until the count went 2-1 to Matea Martin before this conversation, if you will, began. So if it does, so what I think the issue is, Bruce, not the fact of Wilkie being out of the box, but the timing of which it was being possibly requested or called. That's the whole reason for this delay in the first place.
And I want to go back to the point that I was making about Rodriguez needs to take control and issue a ruling. What I'm saying is that ultimately it's up to him to interpret the spirit of what he's reading in the rule book.
That's the key.
Coaches can stand there and debate what they think it means all they want, because clearly this is boiling down to something, I don't want to say administrative.
Semantics.
But exactly. And so Rodriguez is going to have to give his interpretation of the spirit of whatever rule they're looking at. I do see Boswell now starting to weigh in on it as well.
It's just in a game that has been played as well as it has with the pitching, and now you got Gwen McGinnis in. You're in the top of the eighth. And as you referenced, Roof, we still have a second game to go in this doubleheader. You kind of want to get things expedited as quickly as possible. So now Coach Kelsey Diaz and Leslie Cantor having their own conversation as they walk towards the third base side. And Alan Clark will join in on the conversation as well. Because, again, we still have no official ruling as to what caused the delay, what the ruling is for the delay, and what's going on. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. We're going to, as the Tampa defense is going to come out the field, we're going to take a break to kind of get a better clarification on why we're delayed. It's 1-1 in the top of the eighth. That one we cannot dispute. So we'll have our reaction for you when we come back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Another one.
Victor Anderson back here with you at Nate Moley Family Stadium along with Bruce Wozniak. And we've got a clarification on what the discussion was. It was in regards to how Embry-Riddle wrote the batting order. They had Emma Wood in the 2 spot. They have Kendall Wilkie third, but the way her name was written on the lineup was Kendall Wood. So after Wilkie got the single, that's when Leslie Cantor went over to home plate umpire Ralph Rodriguez to have that discussion. And my question is, Bruce, after Wilkie reached on an error in the first inning, she waits until the 8th inning of a tie game to bring that up to our home plate umpire.
And I'm not saying it makes it okay, but it does make you wonder if she only then noticed it.
But it goes back to what you said earlier before we went to break. It's the umpires, it's the spirit of the rule rather than the language of the rule.
Well, you had made a comment earlier about making a phone call, and I honestly wonder if that's what happened, that we had to take such a long commercial break. Were they in fact making a phone call to someone at a higher pay level, as they say, say, this is the situation we got going on here in Tampa. I've read the rule book. This is what it says. But back me up.
I think the biggest thing is you've gone through 7 innings and now 4 at-bats with Kendall Wilkie as a 3-hole hitter, and she's already reached base once prior to this situation. So if it was me, I'm like, hey, she's already reached base. There's nothing you can do, coach. We play on as it is, run our first one out. Here comes Mattia Martin, and you go back to playing softball.
Yeah,
at this particular point, Bruce, that's the best thing you can do.
You could make the argument, does it nullify her previous at-bats? And then it gets very hypothetical, very difficult to argue with the past.
I'd rather not worry about, as Rafael Palmeiro said once upon a time, we're not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk about the top of the 8th in a 1-1 ball game. So after a nearly 20-plus minute discussion of a whole mass of sound and fury signifying nothing, it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Mattia Martin, 1 out at the top of the 8th, and we'll kick it back over to Bruce Wozniak, who will resume things as we have it.
And as I mentioned, we'll see if this affects either team psychologically. And they both had to sit through the same delay. It did not change anything in terms of the complexion that we had left the game at before that delay, so I would think not. And the teams left the field, so you can't say one team was out in the sun longer. So Gwen McGinnis back to work from the circle, and a swing and a miss by Mattia Martin, as the count now goes to 2-2.
Kendall Wilkie on at first after the infield single that set up the whole pomp and circumstance.
The count goes full. 1 out here in the top of the 8th. McGinnis delivers, swing and a miss. And Martin goes down as out number 2 here in the top of the 8th. That'll bring up the number 5 hitter, Vanessa Gilbert.
An opportunity for Gilbert. Single back in the 6th. She's 1 for 3. They'll reach base twice.
And that one goes to foul. You mentioned about last night, her being the Eagles player that broke up the perfect game by McGinnis.
Ironically enough, that came with 2 out.
Throw down to first, and just in time.
Yep.
Says umpire Scott Boswell, as wow. Diving back in was Kendall Wilkie. McGinnis, the 0-2, and does get the strikeout. And the long top of the 8th is over.
And well, after all of that, Gwen McGinnis says, you know what, let me just pair 2 strikeouts and send us to the bottom of the 8th, Bruce.
We'll be back with the bottom of the 8th after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back at the Namoli Family Stadium, and the Spartans with another chance to walk it off as we're in the bottom of the 8th, tied at 1. This is Kenzie Reynolds, the Spartans' number 9 hitter, leading off. Still facing Shelby Morse, who has thrown 87 pitches.
Was held by a big double play on a bunt by Joey Chwayrick in the bottom of the 7th to send us to extras.
Fouled over towards the Spartans' dugout.
Can't believe, Bruce, in a game that's only 7.5 innings, and we've seen a little bit of everything except the winner. We've seen great defense. We've seen costly miscues. We've seen great pitching. We've seen solid base running. We've even seen a consultation with the NCAA.
Bunt that goes foul back to the screen, and we're just less than 3 minutes away from 2 hours since we started at 12 noon Eastern time. Stays fair, and they do get Reynolds over at first base. I want to say, Victor, that a seasoned coach by Leslie Cantor is going to catch something like she did. Whether you agree or not with the timing and what it was, I feel like a first to second year coach might not catch something like that, or he or she may not know enough to raise it with the umpire.
Well, you don't fault Coach Cantor for a situation like this, trying to gain any advantage that you can.
100%.
Especially with a game as tight as this. And the way Morris has been handling this top of this part of the Tampa order is he gets Newpaper on a call strike on the outside.
Look, I said in the broadcast earlier on that it was going to take a miscue. I assumed it was going to be by someone on the field and not something administratively. It did not come back to haunt the Eagles, but that's Cantor looking for any edge she can get. Even if it is something that you find on the roster. And that one will go foul just beyond third base. Jenna Newpaver, the third base player. I'll flip the script and say that at 0-3, if you're a Spartans fan, you can say she's due.
Now, she did reach on an error back in that 6th inning on a ball hit sharply to Sullivan, but couldn't field it cleanly and set up Kenna Kryler's game-tying double to dead center.
To left field it goes. And
it dropped!
Oh, or looked like it was going to be a routine catch. That looked about as routine as they come. And you just finished talking about reaching on an error. And so Newpaver finds the same fate again.
And Bruce, you brought this up earlier. It was going to be a miscue by a team, and that might have been it as a Over the shoulder catch by Martin, drops out of her glove.
Yeah, because in case you did not know to watching at home, New Paver is over at second.
You have a lot of options if you're Leslie Cantor right now. Feast is going to be swinging away. They're playing her almost very deep. You got left field of Martin, almost hugging that left field line. So anything in a gap ends this game.
And I'll tell you what, this Embry-Riddle team has been so darn competitive. You'd have a hard time convincing me that their record is 15-14. They're playing like a 20-6 team, which is what the Spartans' record is coming into today. Last night as well. They've played tremendous softball on the road.
Well, Bruce, if you look at the reason for their record, 7 of those losses have come by 1 or 2 runs. So they've been in a ton of games this year. They just haven't had the softball break their way.
Feast sends that one into the safety net.
You see Leslie Cantor telling Cam, don't bring that back shoulder all the way back forward. Keep that swing level. And you see that huge gap in left center field, and that's where Feast is trying to send that to and send the Spartans with the series win.
Here's the 1-2.
Ooh.
Count goes even.
That looked good, Bruce, from what we saw from up here, but Mr. Rodriguez not otherwise.
I think that was so close that you have to have the perspective that he does to know that it was a ball. Feast again over towards the Spartans dugout.
They're pitching Cam hard and inside in the hands and then working back to the outside half of the plate. And Feast understanding that will go after anything that is remotely close on the inside corner.
Here's the 2-2, and that's outside as the count goes full.
And you got Kenna Kryler who knocked in New Paver with a double on deck.
Now, this is not where the Eagles want to be in terms of the Spartans having only 1 out, a runner on second, and this is their number 2 hitter. And as you mentioned, Kreidler on deck, Brumble O'Neill behind her. Kreidler and Brumble O'Neill are both 1 for 3 in this game. Another 3-2 coming from Shelby Morse. And that time it's fouled down the right field line.
And again, Morse mixing things up, going hard and in, going low and away on Feast, and Feast starting to make those adjustments on Shelby Morse. And Feast again trying to poke something through that gap in left center, and well, maybe if it's on the ground, shoot it past the shortstop Arnold.
And Feast draws the base on balls. And the Spartans will now have runners on first and second with only 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. And the aforementioned Kenna Kreidler to the plate. The Spartans junior catcher brought a .368 average into today's game. And you almost have to do a double take, Victor, when you look at the stats. 18 times she's walked this season. Next closest is 10, which is Aubrey Zeckman.
And her last walk put her alone with the most walks by a Spartan in program history. Doesn't want to walk right now, wants to walk off.
Strike 1 to Kreidler. Shelby Morse, yes, over 100 pitches. Swing and a foul tip. Kreidler behind 0-2.
Crowler tried to send that one out of the park, but in a situation like this, you don't need to hit it hard. You just need to hit it well enough.
Yeah, all it takes is a base hit. It does not have to be a home run. Home runs are hard enough to come by in this park to begin with.
And Leslie Cantors will ask for time and have a little chat with her junior catcher, kind of sensing Kendall's trying to understanding the situation, understanding the moment, Bruce, and kind of just give her a chance to, hey, just relax. Hey, stay within yourself. Stick to your approach. You don't have to do too much. You have to do just enough.
I think that's a sign of Cantor knows that Kreidler can come through. Just wanted to buy her more time than Kreidler calling a timeout herself would get.
And lower her heart rate just enough.
Kreidler bounces it foul over towards Cantor.
And you got somebody on deck in Micaiah Brummel-O'Neal who we've seen during the season come through when the Spartans have needed her the most. You go back to that second game of that doubleheader versus Wilmington as a pinch hitter. Got the game-winning 2-run single in the sixth.
Kreidler sends another one foul. I think what we're seeing
I think
here,
that hit off the light pole and bounced back into the came back on the field, Bruce.
I think what we're seeing here is the difference between a 20-6 team and a 15-14 team. The Spartans have always been a team that you put them in a game like this, they're always going to find a way to win. And you just can't give them that little bit of an opening.
Oh, man. I think they need to appeal to Scott Boswell. Hey, Scott. I thought Morris got that called third strike. She hit that spot right there perfectly, and Mr. Boswell confirms no swing from Kreidler.
I think it goes back to what you were saying about the one-run games that the Eagles have come out on the wrong end of. As Kreidler sends another one foul, the Eagles want to get to where the Spartans are, a team that is winning those one-run games, a team that finds a way when it's 1-1 in the eighth inning. And I think Cantor just has the confidence in this lineup that they can finish the job. And here's another 2-2 to Kreidler, and that's upstairs for ball three.
If you remember, of all three strikeouts that Morris has gotten today, they've been all called third strikes.
Popped up, and that one's again out of play. I tell you what, Kreidler is fortunate that all these foul balls have been out of play.
Yeah.
She's that close to fouling out, flying out in foul territory. And draws another base on balls, giving her 19 on the season. I don't know how many pitches there were in that at-bat.
There were plenty.
Kreidler, wow, did she hang in there. And she ends up besting Shelby Morse. And now we're going to see Kelsey Dundiaz making a trip to the pitching circle. And is she going to give Shelby Morse the hook, perhaps, or is this just a conference? I think it's just a conference. But certainly a anxious moment here for the Eagles coach and her infield as the Spartans have the bases loaded and only one out in a 1-1 game in the bottom of the eighth.
She threw 10 pitches of Cam Feast before she threw 10 pitches of Cam Feast on the bases loaded walk. Had 10 pitches on the walk to Kenna Kreidler. And I think you're going to see the left fielder Martin come on over to talk to Alan Clark. And you got Brummel-O'Neal. She's 1 for 3. Popped up twice. And Bruce, remember, her last at-bat in the sixth inning was ahead 3-0 on Morris before she got a pitch inside and popped up to Sullivan. And that at-bat is looming larger and larger. And I think Coach Kelsey Dunn-Diaz is reminding her of that particular situation. Now, if the infield plays deep enough, Bruce, and you're Leslie Cantor, knowing you got a new paper at third, do you risk the suicide squeeze here to bring home that runner from third?
I'm going to say you don't. And there's the first pitch to Brummel-O'Neal.
I mean,
nothing is guaranteed in this sport.
It certainly isn't.
There's no guarantee about the play that you just made. I just think you're playing with fire there, with only one out. I get the risk, but there's too much potential right now for the Spartans to win it in a natural sequence.
And remember, Bruce, in the seventh inning, the Spartans had the winning run at first with Joey Trawick at the plate. She tried to bunt Henrietta over and popped up the bunt and got into a double play.
That's right. And here's the 2-0 to Brummel-O'Neal. And look at that, 3-0. Boy, oh boy, how anticlimactic would it be? Shelby Morse has pitched such a great game. And if she were to walk in the winning run,
walk the last 3 batters in the process as well.
So undeserved on her part. And does get the strike call there. Brumble O'Neill figured, I got nothing to lose here. I'm just going to keep the bat on my shoulder. You can walk in, my teammate.
And you saw, Bruce, remember, we talked about that last at bat, 3-0. She swung, popped out, takes that strike 3-1. I think she's going to tell Morris, prove to me you could throw 2 more strikes.
Did the exact same thing, got underneath it. And that's 2 outs. So certainly that changes the complexion, as now we're going to see Carly Salisbury I liked your strategy, Victor. I really think that Brumble O'Neill should have just stood there and said, if you're going to strike me out, I dare you. She could have conceivably said, my money's on one of these ends up outside, and you walk in my teammate for the win.
But that is what it is. Now it's up to Carly Salisbury, another freshman, to...
She quickly falls behind 0-2, and Cantor right away with words for Salisbury. This would be a huge shot in the arm, to put it mildly, for the Eagles if they can get out of this jam. 0-2 on the way. Salisbury bounces it foul, as Hollywood would have the script go. In fact, if Hollywood were writing the script, there's probably about 2 or 3 more foul balls on the way. Mix in a ball at some point as well.
And remember, last week at this time, Bruce, in the 8th inning, it was Salisbury who got the game-winning hit against Palm Beach Atlantic to give the Spartans the series. Can she do it again for the 2nd straight week?
Fouls it back. Salisbury walks way out of the batter's box, readjusting the batting glove. And the pitch count for Shelby Morse continues to climb. North of 120 now, I believe. And it's caught for out number 3. So a tough bottom of the 8th for the Spartans. No runs and no hits, 1 error. They leave 3, and we remain tied at 1 after 8. Back with more softball after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live at the Nemoli Family Stadium, I'm Bruce Wozniak alongside Victor Anderson. This is still game 1 of the scheduled doubleheader between the Tampa Spartans and the Embry-Riddle Eagles. And this game has had close to a little bit of everything.
Except the winner.
1 run, 7 hits, 2 errors for the Eagles. 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for Tampa.
And both have left 7 on base, including an inning where they've each left the bases loaded. Embry-Riddle in the 1st, Tampa just now with the 8th.
It doesn't get much more even than that, save for if the Spartans had 2 more hits. McGinnis delivers the next pitch. The count goes even. The batter is Addison Orr, the left fielder. She is 0 for 3 in this game. Fouls that one back.
And of course, it'll be a very busy Saturday around the Nemoli Athletics Complex as Columbus Lacrosse have a primetime battle tonight at 8 o'clock.
Short over to first, and Orr goes down as out number 1 in the top of the 9th. That'll bring up Ava Arnold.
That is now 61 scoreless innings in a row for Gwen McGinnis. She is now has the 9th longest streak in Division II history. And she's 3 innings away from tying the Sunshine State Conference record that was held by Dory Stankiewicz that had a stretch of 64 consecutive scoreless innings from March 4th through the 20th of 1988.
For what team?
Florida Southern. Ironically enough, who Tampa plays in their next conference series in Lakeland Thursday and Friday.
1 ball, 1 strike here against Ava Arnold. The number 7 hitter. Fouls it back. Arnold struck out looking in the second and then grounded to short in inning number 7. The 1-2 to her, and she goes down as out number 2 here in the top of the 9th on the strikeout by McGinnis.
McGinnis has faced 7 batters, Bruce. She's struck out 5 of those 7.
Somewhere Leslie Cantor is saying, and that's why I made the switch after Coda Travers started the game.
And even though Coda Travers would not get the decision, she did everything she could in spite of giving up that 1 run to keep her team in it.
Fielded by Yetter over to Salisbury, and just like that, the Eagles are done in the top of the 9th. No runs, no hits, no Spartan errors, and no Eagle runners left on base. We'll be back with the bottom of the 9th right after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Ready to start the bottom of inning number 9. It's going to be Hannah Yetter, Joey Trawick, and Abby Johns as the Spartans try to come back from what was a 1-0 deficit. Embry-Riddle had scored back in the top of inning number 5. The Spartans tied it in the bottom of the 6th inning. And here we are in the bottom of the 9th as Tampa feverishly trying to win what would be their 5th straight game. And falling behind 0-2 is Hannah Yetter. She is 1 for 3 in this game. And that's going to be a fair ball. And Yetter reaches base to start off the bottom of the 9th.
And here we are in the same exact situation, Bruce, we were in the 7th inning that we referenced in the 8th. Yetter gets on board with a single. Joey Trawick got the plate. She tried to bunt her way over and then bunted it right to Wood, who turned it over to Lipton, covering first for the double play. it would not shock me if they send Yetter in motion to avoid that happening again with this game still being tied.
I think you need to. The offense has been so hard to manufacture to this point. And there you see the successful sacrifice by Trawick. And so Yetter now in scoring position, as we'll see Abby Johns to the plate. Johns 1 for 3 in this game. Two Sunshine State Conference rivals going at it here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Johns fouling that one back.
I'm just wondering if my broadcast colleague will have enough voice, because he's calling Tampa and Embry-Riddle are having a doubleheader today. My partner's having a tripleheader. He's going to be on the call of women's lacrosse later on tonight at 8 o'clock, so hopefully his voice will still be intact.
Well, there's plenty of people out there that'll tell you that I talk too much, so I'm sure that I'll be fine come 8 o'clock when they have the draw to start the women's lacrosse game.
Sullivan had that one knocked down and smartly elects to not make the throw to first. And it'll be up to Kenzie Reynolds. And had a chance to talk to her dad for 15, 20 minutes before we came up here to start the game. And he always talked about players having to do a job and accepting a role. And Kenzie has in a big role here.
Kenzie Reynolds sends it to left field. And it's caught on the run by Addison Orr.
Wow, they're going to appeal to second. Did she tag up?
An important relay throw back.
I don't know if she tagged back up at second, Bruce. That's what Kelsey Dunn-Diaz is saying. There was an argument from Scott Boswell.
And you see Dunn-Diaz, she's going to talk to Boswell.
You saw Shelby Morris. You saw the second baseman Lipton. You saw Wood, the first baseman, pointing over, saying, hey, she let the bag early. You want to talk about a devastating way to end the ninth. And Boswell said, I don't think I saw it.
And you can hear one of the Embry-Riddle coaches yelling all the way up here.
Alan Clark said more than Bruce and I could say up here in the booth. I mean, my whole thing is that, and Coach Clark is correct, if you have a ball hit to the outfield, that is usually the responsibility of the field umpire to look and make sure that the runner at second base, in this case Yetter, tagged up and went over to third. He was probably, and again, we're not in that situation, so I'm not at liberty to say. But in a situation like this, you should make sure that runner from second tags up and goes to third base.
And let's face it, there are only two umpires on the field. There's a lot to cover when it's only a two-man crew.
This is true, but Alan Clark did bring up a very valid point.
And I think that Dunn-Diaz is not done. She's going back over and talking to home plate umpire Ralph Rodriguez again. Now, the situation at the present is Abby Johns on first, Hannah Yetter on third for the Spartans. And the leadoff hitter, the number one hitter, Jenna Newpaver, getting ready to bat here against Shelby Morse, who has thrown 129 pitches.
I think we're going to have I believe we're going to have a switch with the outfielders potentially. It looked like I thought we were going to, Orr's going to be in the game. Orr's going to stay over at left. I thought we were going to see a couple of changes. And right now, if you're Kelsey Dunn-Diaz, you're trying to reset everything. You see Kelsey Dunn-Diaz having a chat with her catcher, Vanessa Gilbert.
It's been an interesting afternoon for Jenna Newpaver. She started off 0 for 2 and has reached on an error in each of her last two at-bats.
This game has had, as we referenced, Bruce, in the last couple of innings, this game has had a little bit of everything right now. The only thing you haven't had right now as a winner is we're 2+ hours in. First pitch was right at 12 noon.
Yeah, so we're 6 minutes shy of 2.5 hours, and it's not because we're in extra innings. If you just joined us,
Well, extra innings is partially the reason, but as Bruce was referencing, we had an extensive delay during the top of the eighth that involved Kendall Wilkie and Quirk in the way the Embry-Riddle lineup was written, where both players had the last name Wood. Turned out to be nothing, and here we are in the ninth.
So Shelby Morse looks into her dugout, checks her wristband, looks at it one more time, and ready to deliver to Jenna Newpaver. And the first pitch to Newpaver in the bottom of the ninth is ball one. Runners at the corners for the Spartans. Trying to pick up their 21st victory of the season.
I guarantee you, Embry-Riddle fans hoping that they can at least play into the 10th, so they don't have that bad taste in their mouth of what they presume will be a blown call with Yetter, what they thought did not tag up from second. But again, you can't.
And the Eagles fans also can't be happy about that long delay because it was semantics having to do with the lineup card showing bunt. It's successful. No call made at home plate.
She's safe. And that's it. Well, I called for the suicide squeeze in the eighth inning. I guess I was an inning early.
It was interesting. Rodriguez never actually signaled safe or out, and all of a sudden the Spartans rush out of the dugout to celebrate. So they do get the victory in the bottom of the ninth, a 2-1 win. A game that, was filled with all kinds of subplots as the Spartans win at 2-1. They get 2 runs on 7 hits, 1 error. Embry-Riddle 1 run on 7 hits, 3 errors. The Spartans improved to 21-6, and the Eagles fall to 15-15.
We're going to need all 30 minutes, Bruce, to kind of collect ourselves as broadcasters and digest what we just saw, and we will do our best to do so. About a little bit before 3 o'clock, I'll have the play-by-play. Bruce will have the commentary of Tampa and Embry-Riddle. 9 innings. It was a Jenna Newpaver suicide squeeze bunt that gave the Spartans the win to clinch the series. Gwen McGinnis picks up her 13th win on the season. The hard-luck loss falls to Shelby Morse after throwing 132 pitches. We'll be back for the series finale coming up at about 3 o'clock. We'll have the action for you here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Everyone, take a breath, and we'll talk to you then. Until then, so long.